So let's talk about Footnotes for Kanye. What was the idea behind it? What message were you trying to convey? As I wear my Yeezys.
All right. So a long time I've been struggling with him.
Yeah.
And I don't even have to say that I'm a Kanye fan because I still have the first album. I believe I was in 6th grade, and I have that album that I purchased when I was in 6th grade. And then I remember just over like the last 2-3 years, maybe I've been struggling with him, not wanting to listen to his music, being frustrated, wanting to critique him, wanting to be anti everything Kanye. Like something in me wanted to just be against him. And then not even to get started on Kim Kardashian. Like I just don't like her, period. But like, and then it's the idea of like, this white bitch took another one of our black men. And like, and how come you went with a white girl? And do you think that she's prettier than white women? And the fact that you had a baby with a white girl, does that make your children less black? Does that make your children more beautiful and more accepted? And like, weren't you supposed to know better? And like, and that's what the poem, like, that is what the poem is. Like, weren't you supposed to know better? Because these are your lyrics. When you get on, you're going to leave your ass for a white girl. Mm. And it's like, but you did that. And so the poem is kind of like this, you did these things that like.
You almost mocking.
That you almost mocked.
In your career.
And that we fell in love with you because of this. Mm. Because it was like this black man who was uniquely intelligent and creative in hip hop. And then you go and you do everything that like you mocked. You went on and you left your hood and you married that white girl and you had those light-skinned beautiful babies. And you're not being a cultural gatekeeper. And like that what came my like personal like conflict, where like you have certain scholars and leaders like Langston Hughes and W.E.B. Du Bois who are like, you don't get a choice of whether like you want to represent your people. Muhammad Ali ain't have a choice of like, all right, I'm going to box, fuck all that other Martin Luther King and Malcolm X shit going on. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to do my shit. They didn't have a choice. Like my grandmother told me stories about my uncles who went off to college and played football and had to stop playing because the white kids would try to kill them on the field. And so it's just like, as black people, the idea that you think you have a choice between if you want to represent your people or not is almost like shame on you. Mm-hmm. And so that's where like a piece of the poem comes from about like there's all this shit happening in society. Chicago's getting shot up. Like people are right now, like Donald Trump is saying things about Chicago. Kids are getting murdered everywhere. We're having an incredible outcry. Like this is a movement. Mm-hmm. Like our children will discuss Black Lives Matter. Trayvon Martin. All of like these are moments and like you never said anything. You released albums, but you never said anything. And then the question becomes, well, are we supposed to expect our artists to say and do things? Absolutely. I do.
Absolutely. I mean, but at the same time, you're willing to jump on Taylor Swift because Beyonce didn't get an award. You know what I mean?
And so, and I'm just like, and that's the thing. It's just like, do I think Kanye would be mad at me? Do I think anyone should be mad at me? No, because I'm like, I did to Kanye what Kanye would have done to anyone else. Yeah. When you got on stage and you pulled the mic, that's what I did. I pulled the mic and I said, like, have you heard yourself lately?
And it should resonate stronger because you're a fan.
And then I'm a poet where it's just like, these hood niggas wasn't listening to you when you first came out. Mm-hmm. We called you a backpack rapper, mm-hmm. a schoolboy. Educated, like nerds, like hipsters were like fucking with you. And then like, yeah, the rap heads like fuck with you, but like you have this core demographic of scholars who listen to your shit. And then poets. Like you were at Def Poetry. And so like I want to grant people a great deal of irony when they listen to my piece because I'm like, you got a poet spitting this back to you. That he went on stage and he spit bittersweet poetry at Def Poetry Jam. And so I want you to feel like I'm bringing it full circle, Chekhov's gun, when you see a black girl on stage like, and I never let a nigga get that close to me. I guess it's bittersweet poetry. It's like, what happened to the black boy poet that we invested in that says some real stuff? Like it's interesting that like we can rap about the revolution when there is no revolution. We can rap about war when there is no war. But like when there is a war, who's gonna lead us? And it's just like, I did think that Kanye would. Mm-hmm. I don't think that he will anymore.
Why do you feel like he lost his? Not why do you feel, but how do you think he lost his way? Do you think he lost his way, or do you think his intentions were impure from the beginning? Impure, excuse me.
He has a line like, triumph over tragedy, something, right? And so like I do think that there is triumph over tragedy. That like I would never write off an artist, because I hope that like if I fucked up in whichever way I fuck up, that like I can atone. And like that's what my mentors tell me. Like if I fuck up, what do I do? If I make a mistake, if I say something wrong, they say you apologize and you move forward. And so where Kanye fucked up for me, of course, it's like marrying a white girl. And I'm calling her a white girl for the sake of how she's accepted in society. And so you marry this white woman, but then you marry into this white culture, right? And so now automatically the black woman and just groups of black people have this like questioning. And yeah, like this, well, I don't understand this confusion of like how that became your token, how that became your win, because we've seen your trajectory. And we black girls want to ask a lot of black men this, where it's just like, you from the hood, you're used to seeing black, brown girls, and then you get on and you find the whitest of white women who don't look like they ever been to the hood before, who don't look like they ever knew your shit before. Like you've always been with black girls. Like she a Delta, so she been throwing that dynasty shine. And so it's like, and so we're all confused about how did you find and fall in love? And then how are we supposed to be convinced that like this black man, Chicago, from the hood, just whimsically falls in love with this privileged white girl who doesn't even bear a fraction of his intelligence? And I'm coming for it. I don't know her, but yeah, I'm making these assumptions, right? And then it's like, oh, that Kim and Kanye were always in love. So then it makes me think, for the sake of being analytical, that whiteness represents this level of success. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I got the white woman. Just like, oh, I was able to sleep with Master's daughter. And it's like, so it's like when you got your token, like I married the white woman. But then also it was a specific kind of white woman, because not only did you marry a white woman, but you married a brand. Mm-hmm. You married the Kardashian brand. And the Kardashian brand represents this white careless privilege. This white careless privilege of, we don't have to be concerned with the ills of society. We live in a bubble. We're not harmed by the world. We're unconcerned about the world around us. And so when you see a group of white people, white girls, get exclusive Kanye shoes, are in the VIP of a black man's concert, wearing all your shirts first, white women, they get you first. How does the society read this? When white girls can get Kanye first, when white women can access Kanye better than I can, when white women can afford Kanye better than I can. Like, how should we receive this? And this is just about how we're receiving it psychologically when we look at Instagram, when we look at television, where we know that Kanye, like, his filter is through them. Because Kanye doesn't rock on social media. And so, like, we see a lot of this brand, especially Yeezus and the shoes, we see a lot of your brand through white women. And so, yeah, we are off-put by that. And then Kanye goes on the Breakfast Club and it's like, he's talking about Kim's body and how like, it's hard being a woman of this body type, and how his daughter is going to have a body type like that. But it's just like, don't you like, and he talks about him and her as if they are the struggle. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, a man with your stature and your intelligence and your platform, Don't you think there are more important issues?
Absolutely.
When you got on that stage and you received a doctorate, the man who wrote the College Dropout, and then you got on stage and someone graced you with a doctorate, you didn't say shit on that stage. You shouldn't have spoken. And I'm just like, these are moments in history. And my fans, and I'm this compared to Kanye, my fans are even like, how are you being accountable? And so I'm just like, so how do you do this? And Langston Hughes has a quote and he's like, I don't want to mess it up. I know I'm going to paraphrase, but an artist absolutely must do what he wants, but then he also must do what he must. And so it's like, there are things that you just have to do.
Absolutely. So, and tying into that, I want to talk about the life of Pablo, right? So he has some lyrics in there when he's saying, I miss the old Kanye, straight from the gold Kanye, pretty much touching on what we're talking about. So in the sense that he hears it. He hears what people are saying, that he's not the same person that he was.
And it's not that you're not the same person. Like, there's this idea that we want the old Kanye. No, we want what we thought was a better Kanye. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, this isn't the Kanye we thought we would have. This Kanye isn't even better than the old Kanye. Mm-hmm. It's just like, if there's a new Ferrari release, that we think that it's a better version. And it's just like, you are not acting as a better version of yourself. It's not that we want College Dropout, because if you want my old shit, buy my old album, right? Mm-hmm. But so we don't want the College Dropout. We want a better you. And that's what we don't have. Mm-hmm. Chance the Rapper had a better album than you. And then that Ultra Light Beam, which everyone thinks is the best track, right? Sound like it belonged on Chance the Rapper's album. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, what? And then you had Andre 3000 on your album, and I'm a writer. Like, I grew up listening to Tupac. I think about lyricism. I don't think about flow and production. All of that is secondary to lyricism. And I'm just like, where are your raps and your bars? Because those things are quantitative, and they're not there in your music right now.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. What I'm curious about, do you think we were wrong about Kanye? We in quotes. Did we mistake him for what he really was? And I guess that's what I was trying to touch upon earlier. Did we mistake him for what he really was? Or do you think he lost his way, so to speak, by the Hollywood, the glamour, and all the bullshit?
Okay. Were we wrong about Kanye? It depends on what our opinion of him was. If it was like Kanye was going to be a race leader and he was going to save us and he was going to be a black liaison, we were absolutely wrong. If it's about a black man losing his way, yeah, he did. But what black man has not lost his way? It's like, that is America's goal, to make black men lose their way. But the goal is come home. And I don't mean come home, leave that woman and your children and be black and forget it. That's not, but it's who are you and what matters to you? We just want to know what matters to you.